Right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's streaming. It's Chichi and Uche, and today we have an interesting topic to talk about. And just sit back and get yourself a cup of tea or coffee and relax as we all unpack this title, which is Why People Get Married. Why we get married, or you may be asking, why do we get married? So we went on the street to find out why people really get married, and some of the answers we got will shock you, but some you'll be familiar with. So let's just have a conversation around why people get married. So
I wonder why you call it interesting. Very interesting. What makes you think it's interesting? This is what you want to talk about today.
because some of the things I found out today, I didn't know that people think in that line. I made some, I think, particularly two discoveries today that it's not a shock, but I didn't think that people will have such reasons.
Was that not because you're living in the back ages? That's why you don't know that. Because you tend to live back ages. All these daughters of reverend and pastors, you guys don't explore things. That's why you wouldn't know that. If you do explore things like we who know waiting day, you would have known that because so you need to grow up and start exploring things.
Okay, so I've started growing up today,
Okay.
and finding out some other things that are going on in the minds of people, especially the young people. The young generation actually have some form of wide passions and wide goals and dreams they are pursuing, and it's a lot of things that I'm trying to make sense of, and some of them are the things we'll be talking about tonight. So, people get married, and every day, nearly every Saturday, every week, Tuesday, and days of the week, people are getting married. And until Christ returns, people will keep getting married, irrespective of what the media and the statistics and everything is saying. Some people are afraid and enter into marriage afraid, and some people are running away from it, shying away. But whether you are hearing that it's not working or it's working, either way, people are getting married every day. So, why are they getting married? If I ask you why you got married, or why you are planning to get married, or why you are intending to get married, or desiring to get married, what will your answer be? This is what we are talking about today, and some of the things we found out we will share.
That's okay. While you were introducing your topic, you did say something like every weekend, every Saturday, people get married. So why that lead to my it's not a question, but I've been thinking about that most times. Say, why do people usually get married during the weekend? Why are marriage usually put during Saturdays? Any idea?
Well, it's not part of our topic,
I
but
know, but we can
I
talk
will,
anything.
what is in on top of my head is that they do it weekend because people go to work people are busy Monday to Friday, and Saturday is usually a time of rest, a time of recreation, and a time that people have to do their own thing outside, looking for to earn income. So most people are free, and people that are getting married need witnesses. They can't just they don't want to get married in a room all by two of them or a priest. They want witnesses to that union, to the agreement they are entering into, and that's why they wait for the time that many people will come
for the
to
witness.
be the witness. That's what I believe.
I'll be digressing. How about if they don't have many people who come for the witness? Does that mean marriage did not exist? Maybe that'll be a topic for next time.
It doesn't mean that, but we can discuss that in another time,
Let's
because
talk about what we're here
because
today.
marriage is just the two people and God. So we can talk about it. And by the way, if some of these digressions interest you and you really will want us to talk about it, leave that in the comments for us, and we will look into it. If we get more responses towards that, we will try and have a session on it. So back to today's topic, which is why people get married. What are some of the things we found out that
Today,
make people get married?
Many people say the one of the reasons they get married is for sexual satisfaction.
Okay, so for me, most people I interviewed, there is this uniform answer that says it was time. I felt that it is time to get married. It's one of the things on my bucket list, and its time just arrived. So I have some people said, well, in where I come from, you do things at a certain age, and the time for it came, and that's why I got married. So everybody that I actually interviewed started their responses with like this, that, well, it was time. I just thought it's time. I felt that it is time to get married, and I got married. So when you now ask more, then some other things like what he mentioned will start coming up. And remember that these answers vary depending on people's religion, people's culture, the environment they grew in, and the society around them. It depends on how they are raised mainly, and the circumstances around them. That's what informs the reasons for why they are getting married. And that's why it's different reasons for different people. So let's talk about, do you want us to start with the one you just mentioned?
While you were describing the people you talked with, the way you emphasize it, people you ask say time, it looks like you're not comfortable with the way they say time. Why do you think? Because when you say, I ask a lot of people, they say it's time. It's time. So the way you were putting time, saying the time, it looks like you're not comfortable with them saying time. Or is that, am I right?
Okay, so today it's not to talk about whether the answer is right or wrong. We are just going to present the reasons that people get married, the reasons that we get married. So that's what we will talk about. Another day we will be discussing all of these reasons. Are there the right reasons in them, or are there the wrong reasons inside of them, so that we don't encroach into time or go over the time. So let's just discuss today the different reasons, so that our viewers and everybody gets to know that it is not only the reasons they got married that other people are getting married, that there are different reasons that people get married.
Okay. During my own inquiries, I've told you that a lot of people say it's sexual satisfaction. I have also spoke to other people who said to me that the reason they want to get married is to raise family and have children.
Okay, so if it is, how is it like those that said it's sexual satisfaction, or what did they say?
What they say was, Sonny, it's just like what he said time. They said to Uche, I'm a grown man now, and I believe I am a Christian, and I don't want to live a life that I will be sleeping with different women, or I don't want to be sleeping with different men. So I thought it's time for me to get married and get sexual satisfaction from one particular person. And on that note, since I am a Christian, I don't want to start messing around. So I think because I really needed sexual satisfaction, I think that is my number one reason for them to get married. This is what they say, but I'm not saying that's my own number one reason. Don't get me wrong. Stop laughing. So
okay, so
that's what they said. That is sexual satisfaction.
Did you interview anyone that is not a Christian?
Yes, because I did. Luckily, fortunately or unfortunately, most people tilted towards sexual satisfaction, and that leads me into thinking, well, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things.
Break. Freeze.
Oh, okay, freeze now. Not talking a good thing.
Okay, so if it is sexual for the reason of sex, we can understand why that is a thing for the Christians. And from just what he explained, this is a Christian. He believes that fornication and having sex outside marriage is a sin according to the scriptures, and they just don't want to get themselves involved in sin or living in sin. And they know that there will be traps, so they want to avoid being tempted or giving into temptation. So they make provision for themselves in the case of getting married, so that they can have sex whenever they want without offending God, without committing sin, without that sex becoming a wrong thing. And that's why I said that most people give their answers based on religion, also based on their Christian faith or their religious beliefs. And just like other people give reasons that go in line with society, culture, and the environment around them. So now you know that some people really do get married because they want to have sex within the confines of marriage so they can please God. So what about the next reason?
The next reason I had it's not shocking, but I think that one is something I have seen over the years in different people. And that one is, somebody said to me, I really want somebody to look after me. So looking for somebody to look after them. And this one, I know that a lot of people goes to it for different reasons. But the one why I became interested on this particular one is because there are some culture whereby widowers, when they lost their wife, what they will do is they will choose a younger female. And the main reason they choose those younger female is just for someone to look after them. Because when I asked, why do you want somebody to look after you? The reason was slightly okay. But he now said to me, yeah, some widower, when they're about 60, 70, they think, oh, they've lost their wife. They've got children who are grown up. And they think, well, they can't do so much for themselves anyway. So they go into marriage with younger ladies. Their aim is somebody who's going to look after them, because at that point, they become self-frail and vulnerable with physical things. So this is another reason I got that people want somebody who will look after them. So I would like to talk about that from the financial side and from the side of people who got buried for some reason.
So what do you think is the reason someone will agree to marry this widower? Is it because they really love to give care, or because they really like the company of that widower? We know that in this case, the lady will be much younger, because in some cases, they are the age of maybe one of the children of the man, but they still agree to get married to him. Do you think that they are trying to be nice, or it is just out of their goodwill, or they really love to care for that person? And if that is the case, should that be a reason to get married? So this is what we will discuss in subsequent episodes. But today, just so you know, that some people get married, in the case of men, because they are looking for someone who is capable of looking after them, I would say, in old age. So that is another reason. And we have some other reasons why people get married. And some of them, when some people share it, you will think, really? Is that the reason you got married? But some people told me that they got married because they have reached a certain age. And as a woman, there is, in some cultures, there is a certain age you get to, and it will become a topic of discussion. It will become a concern to friends and family. It will become a thing of shame amongst their peers it will look like they have been left behind. Actually, somebody used the word left behind. That is how it feels. And for that reason, it becomes okay to get married. And that's one of the reasons when people think that, well, at the age I am, that's the next thing to do. If I don't do it now, it will be a problem. It will look like a problem, and it will be like a challenge, and it doesn't sit well with me. So let me get married. That's another reason that people get married. I think at this point we have shared about 3 or 4. So because we have a list of them and we'll be taking them one after the other. And remember that we are going to check later on if these reasons are right and if they are wrong. Which ones are wrong? Which ones are right reasons? Because there are the right reasons to get married, and there are wrong reasons why people get married. And we will talk about them later on. So let's go to the next one.
The next one I discovered was I did interview a lot of women. One of them has said something similar to what you just said. But the one thing she said to me was, there's something they call biological time frame in women. He said to me, the reason people get married is because of biological time frame. When a woman starts approaching menopause, they think, well, the time is going to be moving very soon. If I don't get it now, I may not, after all, get married. So time frame of women clock is another reason why people, especially women, get married, because they believe menopause will be knocking on the door soon, and they think, well, I'm gonna get married.
Yes, and this is one of the reasons that most women get married at the times that they get married, at the seasons of their lives that they get married. And like I said, one of the ladies did tell me that it will be as if you are left behind. And actually, you will be treated like that in most circumstances, as if you will be the odd one out. And that doesn't really feel well. And when it comes to biological clock, it's a thing. And we know that the timings or the cycles of men are different from that of a woman. And so people think, well, at this point, at this time of my life, marriage is what I will pursue, because a time will come when it will be late. So I also got those answers. And I want to thank Tasha for joining. Thank you very much for always tuning in. Thank you so much. And she did ask whether you spoke to only men, or did you speak with women also?
I spoke with women as well. And one of the women was the one that told me about biological issue that has to do with menopause. Another woman also shared with me similar thing to what you just told me, which is pressure from family and parents. So some people do go through some pressure from family and parents, and as such, it became okay for them to marry. So they think it is okay for them to marry.
Okay, so Tasha said it depends on the age of the widower. But we have found today that some people really don't mind the age. Some very, very young women don't mind to marry some very, very, very older men. And for some, you look at them, it's working. I mean, from the outside, we can see that it is working, and they are not acting like they are underprivileged. They are not acting like they are under any pressure or being coerced into it. And in the past, it's not one of the things that you see so often. But today, it is very, very common for people you're much younger to marry those that are much older. And if it's the same with men. Some younger men are marrying older women and vice versa. And I know what you mean, that it depends on the age, because maybe there are certain age you think that it will not be okay. But of course, it depends on the person that is getting involved into the marriage. But today is not the time for us to talk about which reasons are right or wrong, but we will come to it. So what is the next
the next one I got from my list was cohabiting together.
Okay.
What he explained was I've lived with her. We have lived as boyfriend and girlfriend for a very long time, and I think it's okay. We have lived together. Should be all right to get married. Let's just get married. And because they've cohabited together for over the years, she believes, it's she this time, believes that it's okay for them to get married. So cohabiting together is another one. Long-term cohabiting, especially.
So they are living together, and now if they don't have children, would that still be a reason to get married? Or because they have known themselves too well and all those, did they explain?
He did say that because I've known him long time, and I think it's okay for us to get married now because I've known him for a very long time and we've lived together. He says there's no bad of him and no good of him that I don't know. So this time, why not get married?
Okay. So it means that it's not because they have lived together. It's just that the living together had accorded them the opportunity
to know each
other, yeah. And they believe that it's okay for them to get into. Yeah. So that's, I don't know if that is a reason. It doesn't sound like a reason for me.
Well, you say we are not talking about whether something is reason today or not. So we'll take it as a reason.
No, we are taking the reasons today, but we are not saying if it is the right reason or the wrong reason. But from what you explained, it doesn't look like cohabiting is the reason, but cohabiting gave them a chance to explore each other. But that's not the reason. The reason they got married seemed to me like they've known each other. So there is no harm in getting married.
If they didn't cohabit, would they have known each other? No. So that cohabiting is the ladder that's moved them forward to get married.
Okay. So what it means is that one of the reasons that people get married is
long-term
closeness is love. Love is closeness.
That is your mother's version of love.
So that's one of my mom's slogan, that closeness is love and love is closeness. So maybe closeness now made them to fall in love. So if you are not wanting to get married like that, don't cohabit, don't get too close. Because if you get too close, you may not have the chance to now look much further. So, but that's not what we are doing today.
The next one I'm going to tell you
let's talk about the next one, the next reason that people get
this
married.
One looks very spiritual and mystic, or I don't know how to put that English word. So he says it is people who have got spiritual wife or spiritual husband. And when he said that, I said, what does that mean? He started explaining. I don't know whether you've heard about that before. People to talk about his spiritual wife or spiritual husband. And while I asked, he said, yeah.
Except that one that we were told, yes. Both of us were told. Yes. So the story was that a young lady got married to a man, and in the mind of the man, he believes that the lady loved him and married him. And he was actually seeing her as very beautiful and everything was going okay. But in the real sense, the woman did not really fall in love, and it's not like she's doing him a favor or just love him to marry him. The reason is because the man looked like her spiritual husband, and her spiritual husband told her to marry the man. So it's convenient for her to marry the man, but the man didn't know why she was getting married to him. So there are some reasons that you will hear and you will be like, wow, so somebody can actually get married because a particular gentleman looks exactly like her spirit husband, and her spirit, between her and her spirit husband, that's the candidate to marry. So that for someone, that's the reason she got married. And these are real, true, real stories that we are telling now. So
spirit wife, spirit
yeah.
husband. Is it like somebody that they normally see on their dreams and like that person in their dreams, or is that those kind of explanation? I don't know how to explain it.
So this is not like children having imaginary friends. This is spiritual we are talking about. I know that some people don't believe in these things, but they do exist. So some people are possessed, some people have belong to different demonic influences over them. So this particular lady is, by the way, delivered now. She is free from those demonic influences, but for several years she was married to a man who had no clue why she married him, and that it was orchestrated from beyond, that he happens to be the candidate. So sometimes we don't really know the reason people get married to people they get married to. Until you ask them, you wouldn't know. But this is one of the reasons. So
the next one was, I think this is peculiar to females, right? They want to show off to their friends, right? A kind of, I would call it intimidation, or showing off to their friends to let them know that you think I can't get there. I'm there now. You must have shown off songs. Come on, you tell me. You might know that better. I'm not. Tell me. So how do you guys show off to other female friends?
Okay, so unfortunately, I don't know if it's fortunately for me or unfortunately that wasn't me. I didn't have that kind of mindset.
So you don't have female friends when you are growing up who?
I have them, but I didn't have the mindset that marriage, that getting married is something I will use as an achievement to say I have achieved this and you haven't.
What were you using to show off to your friends? Tell us, your female friends. What thing did you use to show off to them?
Okay, so I think it stems from the place of competition, and it's not part of what I do to
never
compete.
Shown off to anybody?
I have shown off, like my dress is nice, my shoe, and I am in uni and all of those things. Okay. It boosts my ego and my pride, and it makes me feel really good about myself and those kind of things. And when I got older in life, there are certain things I would do and achieve as a goal, and that, gives me confidence. But to now, and naturally, I don't even tell people. So because I don't show off, but for someone who has that kind of mindset, then it will be a thing. But I mean, I can't, it's not something that I have practiced.
Why don't you practice? Is it a sin, or is it not good for people to show things, to show off? What do you think? What do you think?
Okay, so I did say that I've shown off before.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are, when you have something that you really would want people to see or know about, so whether by talking about it or acting it, then it is showing off. Yeah. Okay. It's just not this kind of showing off that, but I do know that some people do that. But I think that sometimes it comes from the place of, maybe they have been bullied, or they have been looked down on, or some people have made mockery of them, and now they want to prove that they can achieve marriage. And I don't think that anybody will just wake up and want to, prove to people, because usually you prove things to people who doubted your ability to do that thing. So if there is no one doubting your ability to do
That's
it. What's
nothing
the
to
point?
prove.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the reason is because amongst the girls at certain age, marriage becomes an achievement that they are pursuing, and anyone who has not been married means that the person is not achieving, it's not a high achiever. So I think that's what from my own understanding, what they are trying to explain. And believe me, for a lot of women, this is why they really got married, because they want to prove that they can also achieve getting married.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. So
So
I also had this conversation with somebody, and the response was, I'll paint the scenario he painted. It was 20-year-old girl, 20-year-old girl, and got married to a man who is 72-year-old man, but the man is seriously rich. When I say rich, is really, really rich. He has everything going, anything money can buy. He's rich. So I asked, what is the reason people get married to that? He said, because he wants to inherit his wealth. Now that's why he got married to him. Can't you see he got married to him because he wants to inherit his wealth?
yeah, I think some people do that. Some people have the mindset that they have to be taken care of. They can't fend for themselves. They can't make money. They can't. And some people that know they have the ability to make money, and they also don't want to do that because they are obsessed with this lifestyle that says, I want a soft life. So, and soft life means for some ladies that they do nothing. They wake up in the morning and, do their makeup, dress up nicely, smell good, and maybe depending on who they are married to, if they have servants, they just give commands and things are done. That is a soft life. And for some people, that's the reason they get married. Yeah, some people just want, just like the older men that want people that will be capable of looking after them when they are getting old. There are some women that get married because they want to be taken care of. They just want somebody that will take up all their financial burdens, and they don't have to bear that burden again. And that's why they get married. And that explains why they marry also who they are marrying to, because they need someone to take care of their financial needs.
And
So
then they will inherit that person's wealth.
I think that is a different thing altogether, because if somebody is getting married so that somebody will, what do you say, so that somebody will pass and then they will take on the person's property or the person's wealth, then that's a reason. Some people do that. In fact, someone told us today about a lady, that a very young lady that married a very older man, and from different cultures and systems, and it's just so that the man will die soon, or the man will, kind of pass soon, and she will inherit all that the man has. I don't know. That's a mindset. But some people have it. Some people, that's why they marry. And Tasha is asking, first of all, she wants to know, when we talk about the age gap, I think she wants to know the right age gap. What's the age gap? If some women, young women, that it depends on the age of the woman. So what's the age gap? Do we answer that today, or
the age gap was almost twice, and that was why, to me, I see it as a red flag, because personally I wouldn't marry. I wouldn't even like my sister to marry. Well, today's not the day of discussing whether it's a good thing or not. So let me.
Okay, so yeah, the age gap, there is an ideal age difference that should exist between a man and a woman. And for those of us that are Christians, the scripture gave us a guideline and or an example.
The scripture?
Yes, there are examples of what age gap the men and the women they married have. Yeah. So you saw people who got married in scriptures. There is an age gap between them and their wives. And so it's not Googling it. We can Abraham and Sarah, they are not the same age. Yeah. And most of them, their ages are not the same. So, but we are not talking about age in today's world that we are living in, because times have changed and things have also changed. So you can't really say generally that this age is not right for this age. So it will depend on the individuals getting involved and the circumstances surrounding their getting married. But of course, today we are not discussing whether these things are right or wrong. We will come to an episode where we will talk about all of these reasons, which ones are the right reasons for getting married and which of them are really very wrong reasons why people should get married. So I understand. There are women fishing for widowers in particular, but mostly for benefits. Yeah, that's what not for sexual reasons, not for companionship, just for benefits that they get. Yeah, that so some people gave us those answers too, and we see it today all over the world that some people have very wide reasons why they get married. But of course, today is not the day to discuss it. So let me just read this out. I feel like in this new era, marriage is not seen as achievement, but a step down for the society. Marriage lost its meaning in this modern age.
Who said that?
So it's Tasha.
Okay.
Yeah, so I believe, yes, marriage had been watered down. We all know. And we are trying to get it to its original glory.
Can we?
Yes.
How can you?
It's possible. Anything is possible because it depends on the people involved. If you and I agree and work on our marriages, it will work. If anyone out there agree that this is the standard, so let's not cut corners. Let's do it the original way it was intended. Let's do it God's way. When he instituted marriage, this was his plan. This was his intention. And this was the way he wanted us to go about it. Why won't it work? It will work. So that's why I believe that it can be worked on and it can get better. And every day we see people that are getting better at their marriages, and those that are getting married that are getting more knowledge about marriage so that they are making more informed decisions based on what favors them and according to their purpose, goals, and dreams. So we are seeing changes every day in the lives of people who come to us for coaching and counseling. So that is a testament that it can change. Yeah, we have a lot of stories that prove that it can change. So it's just that it's not many that are changing yet, but there are a lot that are changing. So it's possible. And I believe that sooner or later, a lot of marriages will get better at relating, and the world will be a much better place to stay in. So yes, I agree with you, Tasha. At the moment, it's a bit watered down, and most people are still not agreeing to the right times. But a lot of people are working on it and getting better.
I have something which I would think, this is now from the professional perspective side, from the psychotherapy and integrative counseling side of my profession. I have come across people who the reason for them getting married is due to their poor mental health, poor mental illness. There are people whom I have come in contact with who says to me, I think I need to get married now because this might be the last bus stop for me. If I don't do it now, I don't think I could ever, it's going to work. And when I ask why, he says, hey, Uche, I've dated people from different part of the world, and it never worked. But this time now, this one is from my own town, my own place. I think it's going to work this time. And as time goes on, you realize that they are saying this because of their cognizance, the way they understand it. Their mental understanding is slightly impaired. And because of that mental illness, they could say things like this to you. And if you're a therapist, you would pick that up to say, well, actually, this person is saying to me, I don't think I have enough time. It's just 26 years old. So I would think they still have enough time. But it's because their mental health illness is playing part in the way they behave and reason, so they get into marriage. So have you ever had something about that? Or do you think it's not possible?
Okay, I think it's possible, and I have had some stories like that of people who are, getting married based on reasons that ordinarily they won't get married because of those, but because at the moment their mental health is not at its peak, their mental health is not that great, and because of that, their reasoning is not as much on point as it used to be. So they make decisions based on how they are reasoning and thinking at the moment. So that's a thing. Sometimes people get better and wondered why they made such decisions.
Yeah.
We know. So what it means is that some people's reasons of getting married is coming from a place of illness. Yeah, that's why they had such reasons. Ordinarily, it wouldn't be their reason for getting married. So yeah, I do agree. So is okay, it's a mindset, yes, and sometimes it's immaturity. Yeah, for some of the reasons that people give is based because they are immature. Either they are mentally not matured, they are spiritually not matured, or they are not financially matured. Some people can make decisions of why they want to get married and who they want to get married to based on these immaturities. And that's why it's important that you mature in these areas before you start getting married, so that you can make the right decisions. So I agree. Yeah, sometimes it's mindset, what you already know, what you have been told, what you have believed, and some other times is because you are not matured. That's why this or that is your reason for getting married.
I'll read what your friend said. Taja said, funnily, my generation or a bit older, 10 years plus, they either do not have a wish of marriage, or as they believe partnership works just as fine, and they are those who marry just to have a lavish wedding. I'll tell you something about this, Taja. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrongly. Right. I met this young man in Scotland, and the reason he was getting married big is because nobody in his lineage has ever getting like married, either paid dowry. His mother, just like that, a long time generation. So he thinks on the marriage, a friend of mine invited me. So while we're there, he now said to his friend, do you know what? All this just for the sake of wedding? His friend was like, what do you mean? Is this your day? Have a fun. He said, no. I'm doing it because just to break record, because nobody in my lineage has ever gotten married. So have wedding, and not having a wedding. So the word that made me remind is lavish wedding. It was a lavish wedding, spent so much money, and within him, he knows that within 4, 5, 6 months, he's gonna put up for divorce. Yeah, but he got married because he believes he wants to break a pattern in the family whereby nobody has even got into the court to do marriage or wedding or anything. I think I'm gonna just do it to make a record.
Okay,
And have a photo.
so that actually goes to so is in men and in women to prove a point, to show off, to kind of intimidate their friends and prove that they are also high achievers, so to say, in the area of marriage. So it can go both ways for women, although mostly for women, because women are more competitive in nature. I know that men compete when it comes.
No, we don't compete.
Not the wrong. Men have the right competition. They
What
want to
compete?
They for jobs, for business, for contracts, for making money. Yeah,
and to show off our beautiful wives.
Yeah, so men do have that competition, but the women competition is kind of somehow negative, because they are looking for who is higher than the other, who is going to come first and who is going to come last. Is more prevalent in women. That's that kind of competition.
That's correct.
But for men, it's not that pronounced and not very common that they will get married so they can prove a point that to their friends. Most of their friends are not eager to know that or something. So
my own take in this is this, because there's something, because I'm a Christian, I believe in the Bible. I believe what the Bible says about Ephesians 5:3 says, "For this reason shall a man leave his parents and become one with his wife." And Genesis put it this way: "It's not good for a man to be alone. I will make him a helpmate." I think the reason, now this is a reason, this is my own reason, I believe it is for companionship.
Okay, so yeah, generally people get married for companionship. Yes. And remember that we are not saying which one is the right reason.
Did I say companionship is right? Or I just said this is my own reason. I don't know whether you're wrong. Or
I know
I'm
that
my own.
I know you didn't say. I'm just saying so somebody will not be expecting us to say that it is right or wrong. That today is not the day. But it is one of the reasons that people get married, for companionship. Yes, it is one reason. And there is another reason that people get married, to have children. Some people get married. Remember, we talked about some women thinking about their biological clock or their age as regards to making babies. Yeah, that is also something. A lot of people enter into marriage because they want to raise a family. They want to have children. And that's solely their reason for getting married, because they need a partner to make the babies, for those who want to go biological. So that's one of the reasons to have children. And we've talked about
you said this in your next video, for those who want to go biological, which means there are non-biological ways.
There are people that would want to have children without getting married. Some people, if they are men, they can get surrogates to carry their babies. If they are women, they can get donors to make babies with, and they don't want to get married.
Leave it there. But tell us more about that next time in your next video.
But most people generally go into marriage because one of the reasons, aside companionship, is that they want to have babies. And for some people, aside partnership, is that they want to have sexual satisfaction within the confines of marriage. And that I find to be so common among Christians, people that want to please God. And most of the time they do this very early in life, at the time that their body and their cycles and the hormones are playing up and telling them that, indicating that they need a man or a woman. They hurry into marriage. so that they can avoid temptation of getting into sin. So there are so many reasons, but it looks like partnership is a common factor in the reasons that people get married. And most people say it is because it is time. That's why they are getting married. So I think that we have covered a lot of the reasons why people get married. It is not exhausted yet, but we have covered a lot. When we come back to discuss whether these are the right reasons and which ones are the wrong reasons, we might put in some other reasons why people get married. But for today, this is where we are drawing the curtain, and we want to thank everyone that
Where's the
has
curtain? Which curtain? Do you not have any curtain to draw here? Which curtain?
just draw it.
Okay,
Is
I'll
there.
draw the curtain.
So we want to thank everyone that has shown up, all the people that joined live, and those that will be watching later. I want to thank you so much, my friend Taja, for joining. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for always being there. I really, really do appreciate you. I can't say that enough. Thank you for all the people. Thank you, Richmond, for joining. Thank you, all the people that always join our live. I thank all of you for always being there. And until next Sunday at 8 p.m. UK time, I want to wish you a very good night rest and keep growing, keep learning, and keep empowering yourself to make your marriage and your finances work to what you dreamt and the goals you set to fulfill the purposes that you want to fulfill. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.